All right, the first day of the NFL draft, round one, we had some incredible landing spots.
Yes.
Everything, well, for the most part, made sense, and we could see how it was awesome for Dynasty. And now rounds 2 and 3, there's some interesting things to talk about. We're going to be discussing winners and losers from a Dynasty football perspective after round 2 of the NFL draft. Do us a massive favor. Go ahead and smash that like button. You guys did great on the last video. Let's see if we can hit 200 likes. With your help, I think
Yeah,
we can
let's go,
make it.
baby. Come on.
Subscribe if you like Dynasty content, and I want you to comment down below right now, because we're about to talk about it. Who's your biggest winner and loser so far for Dynasty during this draft? And let me tell you, if you want to be ready to dominate your Dynasty rookie drafts, go ahead and use our code LAND, LAND, at flockfantasy.com/land. Sign up using that code. You'll get 30% off
baby.
for Dynasty rankings, for articles, for bonus content. You're going to get a breakdown of your Dynasty team from myself and Badake. You're going to be in our Dynasty trade show. You get the fantasy hotline and much, much more. So I'll start with my first winner. We'll do 2 winners and 2 losers each. Okay. And my first winner is kind of a group as a whole, which would be rookie tight ends as a whole. Like, this is a very good rookie tight end class. And Badake and I have been saying this the entire offseason, that this is one of the best rookie tight end classes that we have seen in 5, maybe 10 years. This is an incredible class from top to bottom. Very good up top and a lot of depth. People who could be relevant fantasy players for your Dynasty leagues. There were 9 tight ends drafted in the first 3 rounds, ladies and gentlemen, in 2023 draft. 1 in the first round, and then 8 from rounds 2 to 3. And this is not normal, okay? We've talked about how good this class is. This is not normal. If you look at previous classes, there were 9 tight ends drafted in the first 3 rounds of 2023. In 22, there was only 4. In 2021 and 2020, there was only 5. But, I mean, if you look at it, Dalton Kincaid, I know that was round 1, but
Right.
first round capital, pass heavy offense, and they need someone to complement Stephon Diggs. He could easily be one of these tight ends in a year or two who is a top 5, top 3 Dynasty tight end. Right now, I have him ranked as my tight end 7 in my Dynasty rankings. I think the draft capital is incredible. The landing spot is perfect, and I think he is a prospect who can step in and make an impact as a rookie, similar to Pat Fryermuth. Different skill sets, but I think he's necessary to that offense from day one. Sam Laporta gets drafted in the early 2nd round. Good draft capital to the Detroit Lions. Clearly a need for him, and he fills a role. He's currently my tight end 13 in Dynasty. Luke Musgrave, 2nd round draft capital, joins a young team outside of Christian Watson, who is there to compete with for targets. I know Romeo Dobbs is there, but from the tight end position specifically, this is a great landing spot for him. I currently have him ranked as my tight end 14. Luke Shoemaker, who I really didn't put much investment into, to be honest, heading into the draft. He goes in the 2nd round to the Cowboys, right? I mean, 2 rounds before my beloved Jake Ferguson. Like, what does that mean? I don't know. But regardless, we've been saying this. It's a great tight end class, great landing spots, great draft capital. And I think we could have a lot of fantasy contributors here over the next 2-3 years. Top 12 Dynasty tight ends. We could have at least 2 or 3 of those within, let's say, the 2024-2025 offseason.
Okay, yeah. I mean, look, the tight end position is very intriguing, especially with all these landing spots here. So I like it. I like it a lot. My first winner for the second day 2, right? Day 2 of this really bad NFL draft so far. It kind of feels like Jonathan Mingo. Okay, and I think this is very exciting, very unexpected. And to be completely transparent, this is one of the guys that, I think we both said, if he gets the capital, we'll talk about him. We'll do a little bit more research because we can't do all the wide receivers.
Yeah.
But at this very moment in my rookie rankings for my wide receivers, according to draft capital and landing spot, it's the wide receiver 5. It's the best wide receiver on the board so far. And it's pretty exciting right now going into this team. With Bryce Young to the Carolina Panthers. He was picked 39 overall in the 2nd round. And what's really intriguing here is the situation and the opportunity. Like I said, walking into this team, coming in with Bryce Young, they clearly invest in a wide receiver talent to grow with Bryce Young. Not only that, the situation he's walking into is really wide open for discussion here for Jonathan Mingo to demand targets. Let me remind you, 6'2", 200, I think it's 220 pounds, 210 pounds, around that area for Jonathan Mingo. And he's coming in, and the wide receiver room right now, Terrace Marshall. Well, I mean, we haven't seen much of him for the past couple of years, drafted in the second round in the 2021 draft, obviously with the quarterback purgatory there. DJ Chark, who they just signed this year on a 1-year prove-it deal. What does that really mean for DJ Chark? And I feel like the only person that he's really going to be competing with at this very moment that I can say is Adam Thielen, coming in, getting this 3-year deal. He is the veteran wide receiver that to kind of upbring all these guys in here. And Lavisha Shenault, Shi Smith, these guys I'm not necessarily worried about in a fantasy perspective versus Jonathan Mingo. And one thing I wanted to bring up that is really interesting, that, you know, when I was doing my research and Matt Harmon from Reception Perception, one thing I read and understood that I thought was really exciting, that because Matt Harmon really does like Jonathan Mingo, but what he was comparing him to Amon-Ra St. Brown, and he had the same success versus man and zone coverage, which wasn't good whatsoever coming into the NFL. But what happened with Amon-Ra is that they switched his position to the slot. And what Matt Harmon is suggesting here is that if Jonathan Mingo can be moved around here into the slot, or maybe into, just moved around anywhere, he can find success. So this is a high upside guy here with Jonathan Mingo, which once again, situation and opportunity, really, really good success rate here. Or not success rate, but a really good dart throw, I would say. And I think he is a winner coming into day 2 of the NFL draft.
Yeah, he kind of, like you said at the beginning, you and I did not put much stock or, time into investing and getting to know him.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously now we need to do that. And he, like you mentioned, a very good dart throw. Like that's kind of that's what he is. And that's going to be a lot of the second round, unfortunately, this year. Okay. So we started off a little nice, gave you guys a little hug and said, okay, there's some good things maybe, but let's get real for a second. There's a lot of bad. I'm going to give you my first loser from this day 2. And that's a pair of running backs. And you know exactly what I'm going to say.
Oh boy.
Zach Charbonnet and Ken Walker are the clear biggest losers in the entire draft for Dynasty. Like, by far, unequivocally, day 1, day 2, day 3, this will be the biggest losers for Dynasty football. If you look at my rankings before the NFL draft, I had Kenneth Walker as my RB4 in Dynasty. I had Zach Charbonnet in my RB11. I thought, man, Charbonnet is about to step into a good landing spot, and he has the 3-down workhorse skill set to dominate for fantasy football. Now you look at my ranks, Kenneth Walker is down 10 spots to my RB10. I still don't know where to put him. I'm asking the question like Najee Harris or Ken Walker. I'm asking Josh Jacobs or Ken Walker. I'm asking Austin Eckler, Nick Chubb, or Ken Walker. If you look at Zach Charbonnet, he's gone down, again, 6 spots in my rankings to the RB17. I think it should be pretty widely accepted that J.K. Dobbins at this point is a better Dynasty pick than Zach Charbonnet. I know that sounds crazy, but let's talk about it for 1 second. Ken Walker. Oh my God. KW3 looked like an absolute monster last year. Was drafted with the 41st pick in the 2022 draft. Early second round. Prospect profile, check. Great collegiate player, check. Production, check. Athletic profile, check. Draft capital, check. Rookie season where he dominates, check. Okay? Check this out, actually, from weeks 6 to 17, because Penny got injured in week 5, but from week 6 to 17, he was the RB11 in that time span, RB10 in points per game because he missed a game. He was 7th in rushing yards and 6th in rushing touchdowns. At the young age of 22, with everything pointing towards him being an elite young Dynasty running back. And then the Seattle Seahawks in the 2023 draft at, what was it, pick 53.
Oh boy.
Decided they didn't give a shit about any of us, and they drafted Zach Charbonnet. In fact, I would go out on a limb and say they didn't care about Ken Walker or Charbonnet's career and what they could become by drafting him. They draft Zach Charbonnet only 11 picks later in the same round 2, 1 year later, 1 year apart. And The issue here, guys, is okay, maybe us as dynasty analysts, maybe we missed on Charbonnet as a prospect. Maybe the NFL didn't see what we did. That's not the case. He went in the second round like we thought he could. He just went to a team that already has a running back just as good as him. And it's not as if this is a 5th round pick and you're like, okay, clearly they needed a role player. Charbonnet is going to play that role. It's the same capital that Ken Walker just got, okay? This is not good, okay? I mean, you also take into account that they just added Jackson Smith and Jigba in the round before. I imagine you're going to see a lot of 3 wide receiver sets in this offense now when you have JSN, Metcalf, and Lockett. And if you look at this team, I think maybe by default we consider them a high volume rushing team because of Ken Walker, but that's simply not true. They were bottom 3 in rushing attempts per game last year, and they were a successful offense, a very successful offense. There's only so many rushing opportunities or touches in general out of the backfield to go around. This will likely be great for the Seahawks as a team, but I don't see a scenario in which these running backs now have any chance to get 15 touches per game. Like, Charbonnet won't be irrelevant. If you own Ken Walker and you love him, Charbonnet is not going to be irrelevant. If you love Charbonnet and you just want to pretend like Ken Walker's not going to be involved, that's not the case either. Like, both of these guys are going to play a role. It's probably 50-50, maybe 60-40, one way or the other, probably towards Ken Walker. But this sucks ass because we thought we could have 2 top 10 locked and loaded dynasty running backs who are young studs, and that's just not what happened. So big L for both of them.
Big L for the boys. Unlucky. Shout out to the Seattle Seahawks for ruining everything fantasy that we like about their team, at least in the running back room.
Some people just want to watch the world burn. And
that is Pete Carroll and the Seattle Seahawks. My biggest loser, which may come as surprise to you if you haven't heard the news, but Tyjae Spears. Okay, I think a lot of people still don't know this because I don't think they actually heard. I don't think a lot of people have been saying, okay, Tyjae Spears, great landing spot. So before I get into it, he was taken by the Tennessee Titans in the 3rd round with the 81st pick. And, you think of the thought process like, okay, I can see this working out. He had a great Senior Bowl. He was probably one of the best guys to kind of come out and get the hype of the Senior Bowl. And you saw the amazing clips on Twitter. You saw him getting all the hype from everything fantasy related. He was going to be a 2nd round pick in your rookie drafts and so on and so forth. And then he gets drafted to the Titans, where it was like, okay, maybe not this year because Derrick Henry can stay for this year, or maybe Derrick Henry moves on and then Tyjae Spears takes over, especially with this 3rd round draft capital here, which seemed really, really good. So as Tyjae Spears gets drafted, you think, okay, you were seeing him and you're listening to Rich Eisen because we're watching the NFL Network, and then Ian Rappaport says, Tyjae Spears suffered 2 ACL tears and actually currently doesn't have an ACL and cartilage loss in his knee. And by the way, he has arthritis. What? Yeah. What do you mean, by the way, he has arthritis? Like, that doesn't work. Like, in the words, the test reveals a full thickness cartilage loss and no ACL in his knee. Additionally, Spears has arthritis. Ian Rappaport says it is unclear how long he will be able to play in the NFL, and even wonders if Spears can be a 1-contract guy.
Literally, can he get through his rookie contract?
Can he even get through his rookie contract? I don't want any part of this. The risk aversion starts right now. From that moment, Ian Rappaport said that, I was like, I want nothing to do with Tyjae Spears. The story is great. He has no ACL. He makes it to the NFL. He gets drafted. But in a fantasy perspective, I don't want to invest in him because, cool, Derrick Henry plays this full year, hypothetically. Tyjae Spears, it didn't work out. He never got into the field. No, thank you. I want to definitely just move on. If somebody hasn't heard this news, and let's say you already done your rookie drafts, I'll be trading him away as soon as possible. If not, I am not wanting him on any of my teams because, once again, risk aversion. Maybe he does play a year. Great for him. But in the long term, the longevity to get this rookie contract just for your team in a fantasy perspective, for the hope for him to play 4 years, 3 years seems very slim right now. So not good for Tyjae Spears.
just even the hope that like he could become, this surprise running back of the draft, knowing that his career will likely be limited, even if he does perform well, is concerning.
Yeah.
And I think most people would have thought that your reasoning would have been Derrick Henry, but we didn't even talk about Derrick Henry. It's just this sucks.
No, it's
Okay.
not. It's not good.
Yeah, let me give you guys another low-key winner, and I'm actually going to give you the most bang for your buck right now. I'm giving you like 12 to 15 winners right now, okay? And I think I should clarify here that these guys aren't completely out of the woods yet, but I think there are some huge winners in the veteran running back category, okay?
Yeah.
This is a very deep class. Round 4 and 5 is still yet to happen. And I bet you some of these players will be impacted by round 4 and 5. But at this very moment, today, the 29th of April, it seems like these players, their value could be back on the rise. Okay? How about Rashad Penny? Currently my running back 31.
That's your boy.
I know. Can he stay healthy? But oh my God, if he does, and he is the starting running back for the Eagles, who, by the way, don't have a draft pick until the 6th round. They don't have a 4th and 5th round pick. If Rashad Penny gets out of this, which I don't even know how they replace, what do they do then? Do they trade for? I don't know. But yeah, Rashad Penny could be, he could be a legit starting running back for this team. One of the best offenses in the NFL. I think he's the most talented back there, even though he's not given the biggest contract. How about Joe Mixon? My RB19 right now. Badake and I have been telling you guys, go buy Joe Mixon. The price is ridiculous. We were seeing people sell him for the 206, the 208, the 207 in that range, and we understood the concern, but he's still on the team. They didn't cut him. They didn't designate him to be a cut, and it's very likely that they're just going to renegotiate a contract. Unless there's some stud in the 4th round that comes here and they cut Mixon will be the best value this offseason. Herbert looks like a pretty good value right now out of Chicago. Ramondre got out without any competition. Same with Javonte, Tony Pollard, J.K. Dobbins, James Conner, who we haven't talked about much.
Wow.
Nick Chubb, Cam Akers. I've been very hesitant of Cam Akers. Unless they draft one of the running backs that I love in the 4th round, probably looks pretty good for Cam Akers. How about Rachaad White? I've been telling you guys to buy Rachaad White, and they haven't really replaced him yet. Same with Dameon Pierce. Same with Isaiah Pacheco. Pacheco is tough because I still feel like there are 4th and 5th round running backs out there who could play a part. But regardless, these running backs right now clearly have gained value, and the situation could be different tomorrow. But as of today, these players, if you have them on your roster, it should feel good because they were not hurt so far by the NFL draft.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And these are some guys that I'm really excited about so far. I think one names I would say that were on the list, Khalil Herbert, still in trouble. I know you kind of preferenced that when you started, but one names I'm still really scared of still. Khalil Herbert, Tony Pollard, Isaiah Pacheco, and I would say Rachaad White, but maybe that's my little bit of, I don't know.
You want Rachaad White to be in trouble.
I don't want Rachaad White to be in trouble. I just envision it, and I've always have. But once again, right now he looks like he's in the clear, so kudos to you.
I will say there's not a running back in the 4th or 5th round that makes me think Tony Pollard's value is in jeopardy, personally.
Yeah, I can definitely see that right now. But once again, there's really so many really good running backs right now still out there.
Keep in mind they're paying Pollard like $18 million on a franchise tag. Like he's gonna get work.
Yeah, for sure. All right. My second winner here, Jordan Love, quarterback. I think this Green Bay Packers team has helped Jay Love here. He hasn't moved up my rankings. He's my QB 22 right now. He's staying my QB 22. But I think he is definitely one of the biggest winners. Zach bought Christian Watson as a winner yesterday in the round 1 video. And outside of Christian Watson, before day 1, Jordan Love didn't have anyone. Right? Obviously, you have Aaron Jones. He was there. But now, not only do they get 2 tight ends, they'll also get a receiver. And it may not be a receiver we love or tight ends we necessarily love either. But these are weapons that this 3 back-to-back offensive players that the Green Bay Packers went out and invested for Jordan Love. So they got Luke Musgrave in round 2. They got Jaden Reed in round 2 as well. And then they go Tucker Kraft in the 3rd round. And once again, not amazing Like, for example, actually, Luke Musgrave is a really good pick, by the way. I think it's good value. A guy that we were expecting to go in the second round, which is great. And this is a tight end that we kind of expected to land in one of these teams like the Cowboys or the Packers, which is a good one. Jayden Reed, for us, I would say a little bit too high, but it's definitely some good opportunity for him. He's a speedster. He's really fast. He can spread the field. He's a guy that can play the slot as well there with Christian Watson, and he can be a weapon in some way, some form for Jordan Love, which once again Aaron Rodgers has been asking for the past couple years, and the best thing they really did for him was get a Romeo Doubs last year, right? Don't forget about Romeo Doubs this past year either, who kind of showed out with Aaron Rodgers. Okay, Tucker Kraft as well, another versatile tight end. Do they have a 2 tight end set coming into this offense? Look, Jordan Love, this is the best opportunity and the best way to say, you know what, we're trying to help you out as much as we can, right? We're not going to go out and spend the bag and get probably one of the best wide receivers in the draft, but here are some pieces that you can have and utilize for your essentially your rookie season as an NFL quarterback, right? So Luke Musgrave, Jayden Reed, Tucker Kraft, Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Aaron Jones. I think it's a good lineup for Jordan Love. So I think this is a really, really good opportunity for him. I would say you can still probably get him on the low, I would say. I wonder what his value is right now. But I would say I don't think he's going up into a first-round pick right now, Jordan Love.
Yeah, if they got JSN, it probably would have skyrocketed him. But I don't think people care about these names as much.
Yeah.
And I would agree. I love Luke Musgrave, one of my favorite tight end prospects in this class. I am not anti-Jayden Reed. I just didn't expect him to go that high.
Yeah.
And it's very good that they're building around Jordan Love. This is awesome to see, even though we wanted to see it at 13. But I think Jordan Love's a winner. You and I both like him. Okay, and to end on a negative note here, my second little bit of losers, it's another group here. And I would just say overall, the Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver room. Not for real life. This is for Dynasty. I know I have to bring context and say that because otherwise people will be like, what do you mean? For Dynasty, I just don't really like this move with Rashee Rice. There's 2 possible ways to view this, and there will be people on 2 different sides. One side will be, oh my God, Rashee Rice gets to play with Patrick Mahomes, and he could be a superstar in the NFL. That's unrealistic in my opinion. But the other side is, okay, Rashee Rice went to the Chiefs. Is he a good enough talent to really separate himself from the rest of this group to the point where he gets the volume that he needs to be a star? Because this team is revolved around Travis Kelce and role players. And I'm kind of in that second category. Rice wasn't my favorite prospect coming in. I did enjoy watching his film at first, but some very respected minds within the industry, including Matt Harmon's reception perception, really put the nail in the coffin for me. This is not a player that can create separation really well at all right now. You're getting Rashee Rice for his spectacular catches, his winning down the field, his athleticism, his bully ball. He's very good after the catch, but look, it's getting the catch first. And that was a huge issue for the Chiefs last year. I'm a Chiefs fan, so I know this, but these wide receivers were not getting separation. Outside of maybe Juju and MVS on a go route, there was not a lot of separation. And hopefully Sky Moore develops in that area. Tony just wasn't healthy. Otherwise, he definitely was getting separation. But if you think about this wide receiver room now, here's how I look at it. I still have Kadarius Toney as the most valuable wide receiver in Dynasty, my wide receiver 39. Rashee Rice now ends up being my second, and I'll explain why in a second. But it's literally back-to-back. He's my wide receiver 46 in Dynasty. Sky's my 47. And the only reason I say that is because there's more unknowns with Rashee Rice year 1 than there is with Sky Moore. I still think Sky Moore's a good buy. I still like Sky Moore as a player, but we don't know what Rashee Rice is going to be. And then you have Justin Ross. Those truthers are going to tell you he's going to be a superstar.
Oh, gosh.
Those people are out there. You got MVS who's going to play a role. So you have to ask yourself, do you believe that Rashee Rice is a talent that supersedes the other guys in this wide receiver room? And while it might not be the most intimidating room, I don't believe that that Rice is that prospect where he's just going to dominate from day 1 and improve his dynasty value. We could be looking at another Sky Moore here, where after year 1, we're left with a lot of question marks. And I'm not going to sit here and say that Rashee Rice is not a good pick in rookie drafts. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm saying I'm concerned because honestly, if you look at the second round, there are a lot of worse dart throws in rookie drafts right now than a wide receiver heading to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
Because it, of course, is within the realm of possibilities that he does become a star in Kansas City. I just have some concerns, and mainly it's the separation being an issue with all these wide receivers. I just don't know if he can separate himself. So I think there's potentially capped or unknown upsides in this offense.
Yeah, I can definitely see the argument. I think for me, the reason why I like this landing spot is because I don't believe in Kadarius Toney staying on the field. And if it's Travis Kelce, Sky Moore, and Rashee Rice, then I'm really happy to see that grow. Once again, is it going to happen immediately, or is that something that's, we're hoping, is it just going to happen from day one? Probably not. But I think we can have some sneaky upside here with Rice. But at the same time, I do agree. I think he's going to get this bump.
I think he's a great dart throw. But what I'm worried about is last year, Sky Moore was drafted one pick earlier, and he ended up being like the 106, the 107.
Yeah, the value is going to be too high for Rice.
That can't happen again. If you're taking him in the mid-second round of rookie drafts, he's a great dart throw there. You know what I mean? But I just don't think he can be a first-round pick, and that's what worries me, the Chiefs spot.
All right, my last loser for this one, I think this one's pretty obvious, but I kind of want to hint, and kind of talk about him a little bit, and that's Hendon Hooker. He didn't get the best draft capital, and there was a lot of hype coming into, days before the NFL draft that he can be a first-round quarterback. And even if he didn't have this ACL tear, he was going to be a first-round quarterback according to a lot of reports, right? It wasn't necessarily the incompetence as a quarterback. It was the incompetence of trying to stay healthy and be on the field, right? So what's really, really frustrating about this pick is that, or about what happened to Hendon Hooker, is that he gets drafted in the third round. And the third round is just a bit too low for us in a fantasy perspective, especially to the team that he went to, which was the Detroit Lions. And one thing Zach and I have been talking about, and we kind of said, like, it's hard to see him getting on the field at all here with Jared Goff, and what the Lions have been doing. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Dramo, they get Laporta now, Monty, Gibbs, obviously Swift, right? Whatever happens with him, this great offensive line. How the hell does Jared Goff not succeed here, right? And the only way that doesn't happen is if Jared Goff gets injured, or he is clearly the one that is butchering this team to success. And it's really difficult for me to see Hendon Hooker be this guy in fantasy. And the only way that would have happened is a scenario like we saw today with Will Levis. Yeah, he falls out of the first round, but what happens? The Titans trade up to get him. And if that happened here for Hendon Hooker, whether that was with the Rams, whether that was with the Raiders or the Titans themselves, I would have seen a pathway to say, you know what, we need to give him a shot. Where now it's more like, thank you so much, and just be ready when we call your name if anything else happens, right? So it sucks for Hendon Hooker. Obviously, it's probably obvious, but the value is no longer there. I don't think he goes in the second rounds, or even, I would say, even third rounds of your rookie drafts. Maybe he does if you really want to get the backup, but I think it's kind of shot now for Hendon Hooker.
This class, I have so many question marks that I think I would take a shot in the third. But you're right. I think the biggest thing here is, like, it's hard to see Goff failing with that offense.
Yeah.
Like, that's a damn good offense. If he's just average as a quarterback, they will probably extend him.
And you know what? Before we end it, I would say a little winner for this series that we haven't really spoke about is Will Levis, that I kind of hinted. He does get drafted to the Titans. They traded up. Now was that
winner compared to yesterday?
Exactly.
But overall, he's a loser 2 days ago. 2 days ago expectations.
A little win for Will, but I think
he should be a first round pick in rookie drafts.
In rookie drafts, yeah, I agree.
That is it for today, guys. Do us a massive favor. Drop a like to show some love. Why don't you go ahead and comment down below who your biggest winner and losers are. You can tell us why you think we're wrong. You never hold back, and we love you for it. And outside of that, we will see you in the next video. And if you want to dominate your rookie drafts, these guys are about to tell you a little something here. Now that those idiots are done talking, who needs some rankings?
Hell yeah, I need some rankings.
Then use promo code LAND, LAND, for 30% off any membership at flockfantasy.com.
Oh.
It's so easy, even your grandma could scan that QR code right there.